Meet Lauren and Jason. They did everything right. Saved for 3 years, put down 10%, bought a modest 3-bedroom in a decent neighborhood, $287,000. Nothing fancy, a starter home. Exactly what every financial article, every family member, every well-meaning coworker told them to do the moment they got engaged. Stop throwing money away on rent. Build equity. It's an investment. So they bought. 18 months later, Lauren is doing the math on the kitchen table at 11 p.m. while Jason is already asleep. The mortgage is $1,640 a month. Fine, they knew that going in. But then there's the $340 in property taxes they pay monthly into escrow, the $180 homeowner's insurance, the $90 HOA fee for a neighborhood amenity they have never once used, the $200 a month they've been spending on averaged across 18 months, on maintenance, repairs, and the slow, relentless list of things the house needs that the inspector somehow didn't catch. Lauren is paying $2,450 a month to live in a house with a $1,640 mortgage. And her rent before this? $1,390. She is paying $1,060 more per month than she was paying to rent. Not to build equity, not to invest, just to cover the true cost of owning a home nobody told her about. That $1,060 a month, every month, for the foreseeable future. That's the starter home illusion. And today, we're going to expose exactly how it works and what it's actually costing you. I'm your friendly investor, and I spend too much time thinking about the financial advice that gets repeated so often it stops getting questioned, even when the math behind it is quietly destroying people's futures. If you're someone who wants to understand how money actually works before making one of the biggest financial decisions of your life, subscribe. We break this down every week without the real estate industry spin. And if this video gives you pause before you sign something, hit the thumbs up. It helps us reach someone who's about to make Lauren's mistake before they make it. Let's get into it. Here is the sentence that has cost American households more money than almost any other piece of financial advice in history. Renting is throwing money away. You've heard it, probably from someone you trust, a parent, a mentor, a friend who just bought and wants to feel validated. Maybe from a mortgage broker who, and this is worth noting, makes money only when you buy. And on the surface, the logic sounds airtight. When you rent, your money goes to a landlord and you get nothing back. When you buy, your money builds equity, a real asset that grows in value. Owning is investing. Renting is paying someone else's mortgage. That's the pitch. It's clean. It's intuitive. It's been repeated so many times that questioning it feels almost irresponsible, like saying the earth might be flat. But here's what the pitch leaves out. The pitch compares your rent payment to your mortgage payment. It treats those two numbers as the only numbers that matter. And that comparison is so incomplete, so deliberately narrow, that it borders on financial malpractice. Because your mortgage payment is not the cost of owning a home. It is the minimum cost of owning a home. The floor, the starting point, before the real costs begin stacking on top of it. And those real costs, the ones nobody puts in the headline, are what turn the starter home from an investment into a trap. Let me show you exactly what Lauren is dealing with and what almost every first-time homebuyer discovers only after it's too late to go back. I'm going to call these the 5 hidden taxes of home ownership. Not because they're illegal or secret, they're all disclosed somewhere in the fine print, but because nobody adds them up for you before you sign. And when you add them up, the number changes everything. Hidden Tax 1. Property taxes. The average effective property tax rate in the United States is 1.1% of your home's assessed value annually. On a $287,000 home, that's $3,157 per year, or $263 a month, paid to the local government regardless of whether your home gains or loses value. You don't pay this when you rent. Your landlord might, but it's baked into the market rate invisibly. Hidden tax 2. Homeowners insurance. The national average for homeowners insurance is approximately $1,900 per year, $158 a month. Renters insurance, by comparison, averages $180 per year. The gap between those two numbers is $145 a month that disappears the moment you go from renter to owner. Hidden tax 3. Maintenance and repairs. The industry standard, backed by decades of housing data, is that homeowners should budget 1 to 2% of their home's value annually for maintenance and repairs. On a $287,000 home, that's $2,870 to $5,740 per year. Call it $3,500 as a realistic middle estimate, $292 a month. And here's why this number matters. It doesn't show up every month. It shows up in waves. You go 6 months spending almost nothing, and then the water heater dies, and the gutters need replacing, and the driveway has a crack that became a problem. In 1 quarter, you spend what should have been spread across a year. And because the expense is irregular, most homeowners don't budget for it properly. They treat it as a surprise every time. It isn't. Hidden tax 4. HOA fees. Not every home has these, but 84 million Americans live in communities that do. The national average HOA fee is $250 to $300 a month. Lauren pays $90. She's on the low end. Some neighborhoods run $400, $600, $800 a month for amenities that were heavily marketed during the tour and used approximately never after move-in. Hidden tax 5. The interest you don't talk about. This is the one that makes the whole picture truly clarifying. In the first year of a $257,000 mortgage at a 7% interest rate, realistic in the current market, Lauren pays approximately $17,800 in interest. Out of roughly $20,600 in mortgage payments, only about $2,800 goes to principal, to actual equity, to anything she owns. The other $17,800 is gone. It's not building equity. It's the cost of borrowing the money to buy the house. That's not a mortgage payment building wealth. That's $17,800 a year, $1,483 a month, going directly to a bank. Now add it up. Property taxes, $263. Homeowners insurance, $158. Maintenance, $292. HOA, $90. Monthly interest cost, $1,483. That is $2,286 a month that Lauren pays to own her home and builds zero equity from. Her rent was $1,390. She is not building wealth. She has traded $1,390 a month in rent, the number everyone told her was throwing money away, for $2,286 a month in true, unrecoverable costs. And the $2,286 doesn't include the $1,640 mortgage payment that she also has to make. This is the starter home illusion, the feeling of building equity while the math tells a completely different story. Now, let me show you what this costs across 2 lives. Lauren and Jason bought the $287,000 starter home, $1,060 more per month in true costs than their previous rent. They're building equity slowly, about $2,800 in principal reduction in year 1. But every other dollar in that gap is unrecoverable. Marcus and Diane rented a comparable place for $1,500 a month after Lauren and Jason's old landlord raised the rent slightly. They invested the $1,060 difference every single month into a low-cost index fund averaging 8% annually. 5 years later, Lauren and Jason have built approximately $19,000 in equity from principal payments. Their home may have appreciated, or it may not have, depending on the market. On paper, they feel wealthier. Marcus and Diane have $77,000 in their investment account, liquid, accessible, compounding, growing at a rate the home equity cannot match. 10 years later, Lauren and Jason, if they want to move, upgrade, downsize, relocate for a job, face the transaction cost trap. Selling a home costs 6 to 10% of the sale price in agent commissions, closing costs, and fees. On a $320,000 home, after appreciation, that's $19,000 to $32,000, potentially wiping out years of equity gains in a single transaction. Marcus and Diane have $195,000 in investments, no transaction cost to access it, no 6-month process to liquidate it, no agent taking a commission on their financial progress. Same income, same city, 10 years of different decisions. The gap is not because renting is better than owning in every situation. The gap is because the math of owning a starter home in the early years in the real 2026 economy is almost never what the pitch says it is. Here's where it gets serious. The National Association of Realtors reports that the median first-time homebuyer sells their starter home within 7 years. 7 years. They buy the starter home with the intention of building equity and moving up the property ladder. But in the first 7 years of a 30-year mortgage on a home purchased today at a 7% rate, the majority of every mortgage payment goes to interest, not principal. The equity builds slowly, almost painfully slowly, while the unrecoverable costs run at full speed every single month. And then there's the cost nobody talks about at the closing table, the liquidity trap. When you own a starter home, your wealth is locked. It is not in an account you can access. It is not liquid. It sits inside walls and a roof and a backyard you may or may not enjoy. And when life happens, a job opportunity in another city, a relationship change, a health situation, a market downturn, you cannot access that equity without selling. And selling, as we established, costs 6 to 10% of the home's value before you see a dollar. The homeowner, who needs $25,000 in a tough year, cannot access the $40,000 of equity in their home without a HELOC application, a credit check, a bank approval process, and new monthly payments. The investor with $40,000 in an index fund can access it in 3 business days. Equity is not the same as wealth. Illiquid equity in a starter home is not the same as financial security. And here is the number that should stop you cold. According to the Federal Reserve, the average transaction cost of buying and then selling a home, when you factor in agent fees, closing costs on both ends, moving expenses, and the repairs sellers make before listing, is approximately $30,000 to $40,000 per transaction. If you buy a starter home and sell it in 7 years to move up, the standard plan, you have paid $30,000 to $40,000 just to execute that plan. Before you even talk about whether the home appreciated, before you talk about the 7 years of hidden taxes, before you account for the investment returns you didn't earn because the down payment was locked in the house. That is the full price of the starter home illusion, and almost nobody sees it coming. Here's the good news. This is not a video telling you never to buy a home. Home ownership can be a genuine wealth-building tool, under the right conditions, with the right math, at the right time. This is a video telling you to do the math before the emotion does it for you. Here is the protocol. Step 1. Run the true cost of ownership before you run the mortgage calculator. Take the mortgage payment the bank approves you for. Then add property taxes for that specific area. Look them up. They vary dramatically by city and county. Add homeowner's insurance. Add 1.5% of the purchase price annually for maintenance. Add HOA fees if applicable. Add the monthly cost of your down payment's opportunity cost, what that money would have earned invested. That total is your true monthly cost of owning. Compare it honestly to what you would pay to rent a comparable space. If owning costs more than 5% above renting, the math is almost never in your favor in the short term. Step 2. Calculate your break-even timeline before you commit. Every home purchase has a break-even point. The number of years you must stay before owning beats renting financially, after accounting for transaction costs, hidden costs, and lost investment returns. That break-even is typically 7 to 10 years in most markets at today's interest rates. If there is a real possibility you move before that point, for a job, a relationship, a life change, you are almost certainly better off renting and investing the difference. Step 3. If you're going to buy below your approval, not at it. The mortgage amount the bank approves you for is not a recommendation. It is the maximum they are willing to lend based on your income and credit. It is the number that keeps you financially solvent enough to not immediately default, not the number that keeps you financially healthy. A rule that actually works. Your total housing cost, mortgage, taxes, insurance, maintenance estimate should not exceed 25% of your take-home pay. Not gross income, take-home, the number that actually shows up in your account. Most people buy at 35 to 45% of gross. They feel house rich and cash poor for the next decade and call it building wealth. Step 4. Rent and invest the difference. And actually invest it. If the math says renting is cheaper right now in your market, rent and take every dollar of the difference between what you would have paid in true ownership costs and what you pay in rent and invest it automatically the day rent clears in a low-cost index fund every single month. This is not a consolation prize for people who can't afford to buy. This is the mathematically superior strategy for wealth building in the early years of most people's financial lives in most U.S. markets right now. The goal is not a house. The goal is financial freedom. And sometimes a house gets you there. And sometimes it delays you for a decade while you think you're making progress. Know which one it is before you sign. Lauren is still at the kitchen table. $2,450 a month for a home with a $1,640 mortgage, and the water heater is making a sound she doesn't like. She's not failing. She's not irresponsible. She did exactly what everyone told her to do. She just did it before the math made sense, before the break-even timeline was clear, before anyone sat her down and showed her the 5 hidden taxes and what they add up to over 7 years. Nobody showed her the full number. They showed her the mortgage payment, the keys, and the dream. The dream is real. The math is also real. And you now have both. Run the true cost of ownership before you run the mortgage calculator. Calculate your break-even before you calculate your down payment. And if the math says rent and invest the difference, do that without apology and without feeling like you're losing. Because you're not losing. You're just refusing to let a pitch replace a spreadsheet. If this changed how you're thinking about your next housing decision, share it with someone who's about to sign something. They might need to see this math before they do. And subscribe for more content that gives you the full picture, not just the part that sells. I'll see you in the next one.